Okay, day 2 of the kitchen build out. What I did is cut the partitions yesterday, the 2 dividers, and I've kind of primed them. They're not going to be visible, but just in case you can see in any of the cupboards and things, I gave them 1 coat of white and a pocket hole around them. So I'm going to get those fit in now, and hopefully that'll keep everything square. Wow, it's all getting a bit cramped in here. I've also got the mic back on there, so hopefully the audio is going to get a bit better again. Okay, so like I said, what I've got is the dividers. They've also got a strip on where the shelf supports are. The one side's just going to be a little cupboard, the other side's got to support the oven, and then the fridge will be in the middle. I've also cut out like a scallop bit at the back here. Our little cable here can run through, and a gas pipe to the other services, but also there's plenty of airflow there, and also I haven't scribed this to the wall, so there's a bit of space down the back here just for airflow for the fridge and things like that. And then we'll put a little vent at the side here, just to, it'll be hidden by the seats, but that'll give a bit more airflow as well. So the gas cabinet's going in here. I really need to get on and do that because that needs to be fixed to the floor, and we need to drill the dropout. That's going there. That should sit in there. And then another piece should slide up there. That should square everything up. The gas hob is a 2-burner Dometic that should arrive today. It's like the go-to bog standard hob, and I was kind of hoping for something a little bit more unique, but it does make sense. It's a little bit wider than I'd like, which means this section here is going to have a kind of a cutout from it, because when it sits into the worktop, it sits down below as well. It's about 60mm below, so we'll cut that out once it's here. Okay, I've just had to shell out and buy a gas bottle. So these are the 907 ones, which should be fine for us. We're not using heater or anything from it. But what I wanted to do is get one strapped in so I can work out the placement of the dropout vent. I know roughly where I can drill from, bearing in mind what's below it. But I want to make sure that it's not obstructed by the bottle. Okay, so it'll be right in the back corner, strapped in like that. So our vent needs to be in this corner ideally. Across there. To there. Right, so I've kind of put that through as a pilot. Let's go and have a look underneath. Make sure we're happy with the placement, and then we can drill our big hole. So I drilled that one. That was a bit of a pain. I'm going to do another one below the oven, at the bottom of the units. Of course, I don't need to go through a metal cabinet there, so it should be a lot easier. But that's quite a good way of seeing our floor build up in the van. You've got the van base, which is ribbed. Then we've gone for 30mm of Celotex kind of PIR insulation, 12mm of plywood. Then we've got the Altro flooring, which is the commercial grade thick stuff. And then in this case we had the metal cabinet, the galvanised box for the gas. So there we go. And just remember, anytime you're cutting any metal and you've got all the little filings and swarf everywhere, hoover it up, because it's just a rust maker. Right, so we need to go 650 in line for the next hole. I've checked underneath, that's fine. I'm just going to go for it with the hole. Okay, so hole number 1. And hole number 2. I'm about 3 mil wider than I want for that hole, so we'll have to Sikaflex it all up, and then we'll also seal the cut edge underneath all that paint and prime all that paint. So everything's sanded and filed underneath, cleaned up with meth, and now I just need to get some primer to treat all the metal. Now we need to grab some of this, which has been sat on the shelf for a few years, to prime up that metal. Every flipping time. I've got through 3 of these now. It's the last time I buy anything remotely budget when it comes to these silicone guns. Because this Sikaflex is so much more kind of stiff, you need to warm it up, or it was okay today because it's warm, but handles just shear off these things. What are we going to do? Can I rig up a clamp to hold that in there? Right. That'll do. Bit of ply and a clamp, I think. Nothing's easy. It's the Mark III version. First one didn't work, plywood snapped. Oh, wait a minute. Just cut it off and squeeze it. I popped him in there, and like I said, the vent is underneath it, but there's big holes here anyway, so we haven't lost any clearance at all. Right, so we need to pop a hole in here because our dropout vent is below this section. Oh, yeah, why is everything so hard in a van? Okay, more requirements. 44, we need a gap at the bottom of 13 mil. Good, so that gives us our ventilation at the bottom, fixing at the side, we've got a vent at the top, we've got clearance at the back, we've got a drop out of the floor. This space is fine, and these are 335. So on all the installs I've seen, it shows this section here visible, which I'm not a massive fan of. And if it's safe enough for them to ask for wooden battens there, it's not like there's a clearance issue. So, and there's no vents to block. So what I'm planning on doing is when I build my face frame, we'll still leave a gap there, but we'll frame it out so it looks nice and inset. And we'll leave a couple of mil reveal there, which is the same what we'll do around the fridge, but the fridge has the door issue. So this side here allows for just 12 mil, so we'll put a trim there at the end of the face frame. Oh, it's going to be snug. Now with the fridge, I'm not sure what we've got in terms of self-leveling feet. Nope, we don't. So, got a bit of a rock on. The fixings for these fridges are behind some plugs inside here. So we want to make sure that we're flush to the sides, at least where the plugs are. I'm going to use these 35mm face frames as I've done elsewhere. So what does that give us? That gives us 4mm. I just don't like it when this sticks out. Normally all this chunky bit shows on. You can buy a face flush kit, but I've struggled to see how that works. I think it just does what we're building. More cardboard. I will leave a link to all this. Not that I've even used it, but as it's kind of the industry standard, I'm sure it'll be okay. Okay, so it's pretty low profile, it's just the burners which stick down. Right, it opens up this way. Chose that just, I've got a bit of a splashback here, but I didn't want anything flicking onto the seat. Clearances from the back. 135 from the burner. 135 that way. When I've done all the joinery for the oak worktop, it's going to come out at about 22mm. So, although the front will be thicker. So this is how high it will sit, and we need to have 30mm clearance between the bottommost part of the burners and the next kind of the shelf below. So we've got 35 below, which is fine. .130 at the back. I want to bring that forward anyway because of the tiles, and the closest the burner is 135 from there. So if anything, we just want to come this way. Oven's in place, that's not budging. Fridge needs a little bit of packing out, and then we're happy with all the tolerances on this and the clearances, and then of course that will be further this way. Tap will be in the far corner as well. Haven't ordered that yet. That leaves us with a decent amount of workspace here. I was potentially thinking about some sort of pull-out board, but I'm not going to do that anymore, just because I think that's workable. And we've got 3 of the tables in the van, so we should be alright. So that is pretty much it for today. Make sure you're subscribed and you head back tomorrow for the next episode. The next one, we're doing the worktop for the kitchen. Something a little bit different. Bit of an odd technique, but it worked really well, and really pleased with how that came out. So as always, remember, if you can, do it yourself, and we'll see you next time.